Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Talking Darts Wednesday podcast, half an hour, the show that delivers the news today that you will know tomorrow. We called Van Gerwen right last week, so we're going to ride those coattails for a while. And joining me, as always, is Big Fish Tom James. Tom, welcome back. Darts half hour. It comes around ever so quick.
Ever so quick. But yeah, it's always good to be back, isn't it? And chatting about it, and so much to talk about once again. So yeah, really looking forward to getting stuck into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, this time last week we were talking about the Premier League itself. We were talking about the UK Open. So I guess that's probably the most logical place to start. The UK Open on ITV4 from Friday through to Sunday. It was. How did you see it from a darts perspective, first and foremost?
Yeah, really good. A good mix of players playing well who we all expected to do well, some falling by the wayside from people who have just come from nowhere. So we've got people who got to the quarterfinals, for instance, without a tour card, which is incredible. So shouts out to Sebastian Bielecki. I think I've pronounced that correctly. But yeah, he made the quarterfinals without having a tour card, which is mad. So that's really good for him. And like we see Keane Barry, he's a teenager, and he dumped James Wade out in the quarterfinal stage as well. Absolutely floored him. So really good to see that. And yeah, a couple of 9-darters in there for good measure as well.
Yeah, Keane Barry, 19 years of age from Ireland, 52 in the current world ranking. He beat James Wade, the world number 4. That was a really interesting match, actually. How did you see it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I had it on in the background whilst I was cooking my dinner, and I was like, I had to put the food down because I couldn't stop watching it, so I had to make sure I watched the back end of it for sure. But yeah, he played so well, and he's been around a couple of years, but he's definitely see the potential there at that point as well. But he's stepped it up in a major tournament, so yeah, really looking forward to seeing how far he can go, really. But yeah, it's really good
likewise. Obviously, the eventual winner. I'm not going to try and butcher the surname. I'm just going to ask as a new darts fan, Danny
Noppert.
Thank you very much. I looked at that most of the time thinking Napier, Noppert. Danny Noppert, UK Open champion, winner. Great weekend from him. Obviously, he wins it, but was it a deserved victory in the end from your perspective?
Well, he hit his doubles, so we have to say from that point of view, yes, he deserved to win.
But I could feel a butt coming.
Yeah, I guess when you're averaging 84, it's an incredibly low average, particularly for a final. And I think there's only been one major one with a similar average previously before, because you don't tend to win tournaments with that lower average, to be honest. And Smith averaged 90, which by his own admission could do a bit better. And yeah, it's just another case of a bit just falling at the last hurdle for Michael Smith. But he's moved up to number 4 in the world, which is kind of a bittersweet element to it. But yeah, he will win majors. And he's put a post out on social media today, just basically having a go at the trolls who basically say he can't do it. But he just put a post out and he just said, "Here's one for the trolls." It's like, I've got my family. I've done all of this stuff I didn't expect to be doing years ago.
I will find this tweet.
Yeah, so basically it was just him telling people to shut up, and I think he's very justified in doing that because he's an excellent player and he's going to win stuff. He just needs to break this cycle. There's some sort of like mental glitch in a final, which I think he can overcome, and he's still very young as well. So yeah, incredible player. So I think he'll be all right.
Michael Smith, the Spurs of darts, says the Cruncher 76.
Well, in terms of not making it final past that next line, yeah. But
I suppose he got to a final. That's better than most Spurs teams I can remember, isn't it? Isn't it for yourself as well?
Yeah, I think that's probably unfair on Smith because he gets to more finals and is more successful than Spurs in his own profession. So yeah, he will get there. And I can't say the same for Spurs. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, I will try and find that tweet to bring it on the screen for you. Thanks for joining us, by the way, Cruncher. in terms of tournament play, Van Gerwen speaking either ahead or just after the UK Open was speaking to a website, and he's floated an idea of a tournament. Van Gerwen would like to see a new ranking tournament replacing the Masters at the beginning of the year. The top 32 in the world, best of 5 legs first match, and then continue. What do you make of this idea from Van Gerwen? He said if he was the chairman of the PDC, it'd already be in operation.
I think it'll be incredibly long and probably boring to watch, in all honesty. It'll be twice the amount of a 501, well, pretty much twice, 1001 start, best of 5. And it just seems a bit too long-winded for me. So you're trying to work out how many darts you can do 1001 in. That's something I've not had to think about before. But I just think watching that on telly, I think, or if I was in the crowd as well, I'd be like, oh, we've thrown about 12 darts each and we're only back to 501 where we would have been in a normal leg. So I would watch it if it was on. I've been surprised by this Premier League format, for example. So I'm not adverse to saying no to it straight away, but I don't see it being that exciting, to be honest. And the fact you can only have top 32, we just close in too many players off who might want a chance to do it as well. But that is what the Masters does at the start of the year, is for the elite, the top 32, and it's a good gateway for a Premier League spot as well. So, but I don't think I'd like to see it chopped for something that's going to take a long time to get through a leg.
Is there? Yeah. So, top 32. Van Gerwen obviously believes it's a great idea and thinks it would be something that the fans at home would get behind. I don't see it, from what I've read, I don't see it being picked up by the PDC. But funnier things have happened, I guess. But you're not a huge fan by the sounds of it.
I just think it sounds a bit too long-winded for me.
Too long-winded.
Yeah.
And too cut down.
Yeah, I think, just not enough legs and too long a legs. So I don't think
it's got any legs. So there we go. We'll wait to see. If we hear any more, we'll obviously touch back into it. Conscious says, what about getting over the winning line? Do you think Smith will seek a sports psychologist to help TJ?
I said this just the other day. I was back playing darts on Monday, which was really enjoyable.
Very nice.
I was back in the Peterborough Pub League and playing in a doubles tournament with my old mate. So we were chatting about the weekend's events, and we pretty much touched on that. Maybe that kind of thing, like Cruncher says, is something that's needed, is just a little bit of outside knowledge, looking in and just saying, these are the things I think can make a difference. You see it in football, you see it in all other sports as well. And I just think it's something that might help him. And he's definitely got the talent. There's no denying that. And he gets to so many finals at the minute. He's a world finalist as well. So, I think something like that will definitely help him out.
Okay. In terms of PDC world ranking change, we have had a couple. I guess the first place to start is that Peter Wright has become the PDC world number 1 for the first time in his career, following the UK Open in Minehead. Obviously, last week we spoke about Gerwyn Price. I believe he was number 1 last week. Now it's Peter Wright. This is something that's going to go and go, isn't it, between these two for a long time?
Yeah, it's only by about 39 grand, so that can be easily chopped and changed.
It is, you're right.
But yes,
it is, you're right.
Yeah, so the way it works in that sense, there's a few questions online about, well, how did that happen? Because he didn't win the tournament, he didn't pocket that much money to make that jump. But it's the fact that so it works on like a 2-year basis, and you have to almost defend that money in that period. So basically, Gerwyn Price hasn't defended enough money to then make sure he sticks at that position. So Peter Wright has kept building, and he's just pipped in ahead of him there. But like I said, it's something that will change, and it's going to probably be like a Man City Liverpool of darts in a way, because it's like a close shot at the top, isn't it? And then the rest of them are, as you can see, they're halfway there. So
if you don't win enough, that's what happens. And obviously, Wright and Price have been consistent winners. Van Gerwen's gone from 4 to 5. That means Smith's gone from, I think Smith's gone from 5 to 4. It may come from further back even. I don't quite remember where he was. But Van Gerwen dropping from 4 to 5 when he's just finding his mojo. So that in itself may be another change. Obviously, he's only himself 19,000 behind Michael Smith.
Yeah, that's right. Again, all of that can change immediately.
One
It's just,
tournament,
I think
really.
it's everyone's first reaction is when they see Van Gerwen that low down for his standard is startling, really, because he's been way at the top for years and years. Obviously, surpassed Taylor when he was winding down the bit, and yeah, it's just something we're all not accustomed to. But over the past 2 years, he's not been at the levels he should be. And like I just touched on, the kind of ranking and how it works, and kind of like you need to fight for your prize money that you won before, and if you don't get it, you do drop as a result. So the way that works is Van Gerwen's not defended enough money, not earned enough money, and now he's slipping as a result. So it's really interesting, and I'm just really keen to see his mindset and how dogged he's going to be now that he needs to fight to get that back. But I think we saw it last week in the Premier League. The gut is still there, the ability is still there, without a question. He's still averaging great numbers when he's losing as well. So
absolutely,
yeah, we're going to see a lot of change in that top 4 or 5 positions, I think.
Cruncher, nice to see the machine with a resurgence, Big Fish.
Yeah, and we touched on him last week as well. And you asked me the question: is James Wade too overlooked? Is he not given enough respect?
Oh, I think he is.
Yeah, he is, and it's unjust. And I'll say it out again. I'll roll out the stat. He's like the 3rd most successful player in PDC history. So,
which shows by the fact he's 3rd.
Yeah,
in a PDC rankings. You know, he's consistently the best of the rest.
Yeah, and it's the whole phrase that every commentator says: James Wade does what James Wade does, and he just hangs in there. He's called the machine for a reason, because he's well-oiled. He knows how to just churn along and dig out those results. So yeah, it's good to see him back. He's had his own difficulties in the past as well, which, you know, loads of us have, and you know, it's great to see him just turn it around. And yeah, I think the motivation of he's got a 2nd kid on the way and just really good stuff going on in his life, and hopefully that's contributed towards a bit of upturn in form.
Absolutely. I'm just this is going to be a new darts fan question. The Premier League, the prize money from that, does that count towards the PDC rankings?
No. So the Premier League, because it's such a obviously close.
I was going to say, because if I was obviously, I don't know, Jose de Souza, for example, I'd be like, well, shit.
Yeah, you'd be fuming. So yeah, basically, you just want to fight to get in there, because it's good to win another tournament, but it doesn't count as a major. It is a major in a sense that it's a big prize and something you want to do.
It isn't. You know, it's
not a competition for everyone. So yeah,
that's why. I just came to me as we were looking at the prize, man. I was thinking, if you're, you know, if it does and you're Jose de Souza, you'd be fuming, like, because that's why they're getting further, and you'd also be claiming that's why they're getting further away from you. On the Premier League last week, we both called it, Big Fish. We said Van Gerwen would have his week. We said last week would be his week, and it was. First of all, talk us through Van Gerwen's Premier League performance last week to cap it off. It was sublime at points.
Yeah, just clinical. It just dominated, and yeah, I think he did everything we talked about last week, and as we expected. And I'm probably psychologically wearing green for that reason, is just because Team Van Gerwen. But yeah, he just did the business last week, didn't he? Like, you've got the results up there. So yeah, absolutely took Johnny Clayton to the cleaners in the quarterfinals, which people just don't really do at the minute, which is really surprising. And then obviously Michael Smith again, 6-2 comprehensive scoreline. And then the final was, I was expecting to stay up a bit later and have another drink, but I wasn't able to. And he just walloped him 6-0 and said, thanks very much, 10 grand in the pocket, and see you next week. And
the world number one, that is, by the way. He just walloped 6-0.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, 3 legs dropped over 3 games. It's, very, very impressive. Probably the most comprehensive winner of a night in the Premier League this season so far. So
well, he's thrashed everybody. He's thrashed Johnny Clayton 6-1. He's thrashed Michael Smith 6-2, and then he's taken Peter Wright to the absolute cleaners. So it's not only a great night from Van Gerwen, Tom. It was a phenomenal night that he took from last week, the week before, where he was pushing, Gerwyn Price all the way. Really.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's just it shows a level of consistency which he's not had in the past 2 years, where we've seen how good he has been in like some of the weeks in the Premier League, but he's just lost to a much better player, and he's kept the consistency and it's paid off, and he's just absolutely wiped the floor with everyone who's come in his sight in that tournament. So yeah, really good to see. I think we touched on it. Is good for him to get one in early, get a win in early, and hopefully the more the players can do that, hopefully the better the competition we see, because we didn't want it to be a few players winning the same things every week and it just becoming a bit stale. So it's helping the format at the minute that these players are all doing this as well.
It does. Let's look at the quarterfinals from last week. Johnny Clayton obviously got beaten by Van Gogh. We just touched on that. The biggest outside surprise of that one, just how comprehensive that was Gerwyn Price. We knew it'd be a tough match against Peter Wright. Obviously, they had that little bit coming in to the tournament where they jokingly, Peter Wright said, "I'm coming for you," after having been beaten by Gerwyn Price the weekend before. But we both were humming and ahhing. Is it going to be Price? Is it going to be Wright? We both felt, I think I said Peter Wright, but I think yourself, you felt Gerwyn Price because you felt he was playing the best darts, and he is, and he was. So talk us through that one. That's a bit of a surprise on the paper looking at it, 2-6.
Yeah, it just kind of defies logic in a way. He wasn't on his form really, but it was just like a clinical Peter Wright performance, and he just stepped it up. And I think, like you just touched on the tournament the weekend previous, when it was the battle for the number one spot, and there could have been something in their minds like, oh, who's going to get the revenge here, or is Gerwyn Price going to put a marker down? But no, Peter Wright just said, no, I'm here to do this, and he's followed it up by becoming the number one in the tournament afterwards. So yeah, great mental strength from him to do that. But yeah, and again, he just did a job on James Wade, which is hard to do. It's like 6-2 is a very good result in the semi against Wade, but it just, something happened in the final. He just ran into Van Gerwen on the rampage.
Yes, which was going to happen at some point. Into the semi-finals, obviously, the other one outside of Van Gerwen was Peter Wright, James Wade, 6-2. Did any surprises from that one? Just how comprehensive it was, I guess, from my perspective.
Yeah, you'd probably say Wade's going to get 3 or 4 legs, maybe a standard, because he just knows how to dig in. But yeah, probably a bigger result than people would have thought, but probably no surprise that Peter Wright comes back and wins that.
No, but I would have liked James Wade, who the week before obviously was in the final, got beat by Gerwyn Price, just to, have pushed Peter Wright a little bit in that semi, a little bit more in that semi. But and at this point of the night, Peter Wright's beaten James Wade 6-2, Van Gerwen's beaten Michael Smith 6-2. The final was just mouth-watering, because you're thinking you've got two players that have played phenomenal tonight. Is it going to be Van Gerwen tonight? Is it the chance for him to come back into it? And it was, and he took it. And the final, despite being 6-0, was a great little exhibition, I guess.
Yeah, exhibition's probably the best word for it, isn't it? It's just, yeah, you go, here's what I can do. I'll just trounce the world number one in waiting, and just, he's not gone away. So hopefully, not hopefully, but he will get back in that top 4 very soon. So yeah, just kind of watch his space with him, and hopefully he's back at the form that he can deliver on, because it is one of the best players to watch when he's on it, really.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely. I think Van Gerwen is great for the sport, great player, very much an early favourite of mine. I will be honest. So this week we are in Brighton for night 5. The quarterfinals are on the screen now. Let's discuss those. Before we do, any plans to get some pro players on the show, says Cruncher. Cruncher, we've got some guests lined up that will knock your socks off, but baby steps with it. Let's get the foundation. But yes, there are plans in place for some great guests. We don't go too far and spoil it just yet, Tom, but some great plans in place for the guests.
Yeah, we're just trying to work around different schedules and stuff, and obviously
hence the 5 p.m. start.
It's just this week. It just happens. We've got things on tonight, and we're chatting to a few people, and they've got busy schedules as well. So we're just trying to find out in the coming weeks what we can make work for everyone. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, optimistic and hoping we can get some good stuff in the weeks to come.
Yeah, you're going out in a moment. I've got barbecue chicken in the oven. Like, this is very much what we want to get done. It's a passion project of both of ours. But yeah, it's the diary as the weather gets greater, I guess is the word. So, quarterfinals: Gary Anderson, Michael Smith. I'm going to be honest. Two players I know very little about, despite it being night 5. That's because I'm new to the sport. I don't know much about this, so I can't tell you what I'm expecting. But this match, do you think it would tell me a lot more about both players?
I'd hope so, and they've got good relationship, these two. So, in effect, Gary Anderson kind of sponsored Michael Smith at the start of his career to help get into it, and that kind of thing. So that's how Phil Taylor got into it, because Eric Bristow sponsored him. And basically, when Phil Taylor got good, Eric Bristow put his hand out and said, "Oh, give him my money back." And then there's a story of him like waiting for him after a tournament, like Phil Taylor comes down the escalator or something, and Bristow's just waiting there with his hand out saying, like, "That money's mine." And it's just basically like toughened him up, saying, "Right, I've given you this help, and now you're going to pay me back for it." And he just turned into this beast. But yeah, Anderson done the same with Smith. He's like helped him early in his career, and Smith has just proved to be, a powerhouse without the final in his pocket. So it will come. But yeah, I think a good game when these two play. Probably one of the tough ones to call. But I don't know. I think Michael Smith will pip it.
Michael Smith will pip it.
Okay. I think he will. Yeah, I hope he gets over the weekend and just can come back and just prove everyone this is how good I am. And I think he will.
I can't give you a prediction for this one because, like I say, I don't know both players enough to truly know. It'll literally just be me picking a name off the screen, a bit like picking a Grand National winner. Peter Wright, Johnny Clayton. I know about a little bit more about Peter Wright than I do Johnny Clayton. Johnny Clayton still is an under the radar type player for me, being new to the sport. Peter Wright should win this, I would say. I'll go on a limb and say world number 1, great player. When he's on it, and there's not much better in from what I've seen. Is that the case? Is there any hope except an outsider's chance because he's in the match that Johnny Clayton can upset the apple cart here?
At present, Clayton can upset anybody who wants to. He's just dipped a little bit in the Premier League in the past few weeks, but at the start, he was the man on top, and he won the first week, and he was just doing the business. So I wouldn't say write Clayton off. It could be probably a 6-5 to Wright. I think it will be close.
Okay. Who do you see it going to?
Peter Wright, yeah, just close. 6-5 or something like that.
Okay. James Wade, Michael Van Gogh, both players I do know a little bit about. Well, Wade is he's just a machine. He's always appears emotionless. Nothing can rattle him. Nothing can almost shake his foundation. Van Gogh, on the other hand, is in phenomenal form and one of my early favourites. So for me, it's going to be Van Gogh all night long and twice tomorrow night. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm going to go for Van Gogh as well. Even though James Wade progressed a bit further in the UK Open than Van Gogh did, and that's all down to Damon Heta doing the business. And again, another name that popped up in the UK Open. Good, consistent player, just proving that the talent pool at the minute in the PDC is just incredible. So really good. But I think Van Gogh will turn it around and he'll come back against Wade. And yeah, you've got to expect something like a 6-3, 6-4 in there. I think Wade will get a few more legs on the board.
That said, James Wade may appear with a point to prove, particularly after the UK Open, with being bitten by the young Irishman Keane. He may come with a little bit of a chip on the shoulder, a little bit of a point to prove, and a chance to fire back and put himself back into the conversation and sort of just remove that memory of last weekend, because even when we're doing the Talk in Town show last weekend, that's all people could talk about in terms of darts was this young lad beating the world number 3. So maybe that will be the internal decider, and Wade will just pip it. We wait to see. Mark Wall, Clayton could beat Wright, no doubt. Kind of says Johnny Clayton is class, Guv. Robert Grimsey, on his day, MVG still beats anyone in the world. Trouble is, he's too distracted away from the board nowadays. Anderson Wright semi, says Ben Moore. Wade Price semi, Wright versus Pace final with Price winning. Joe Cullen, Going Price. Hey, I've merged the two. What a player that would be. Joe Cullen, Going Price, the last quarter final. Going Price all day long. How about you?
Yeah, I've got going Price for this as well. Yeah, I really hope Joe can get stuck into this tournament as well, given it's his first year in it. But yeah, these games don't come easy at any point or any week.
They
so
don't.
yeah, so I'm going to go for Price as well. But yeah, hopefully we can see a bit more from Joe as the weeks go on.
Not seen a lot of him this so far, have we? Let's be honest.
Nah, it's been tricky, but the Premier League does swallow players up sometimes, and I don't think it will happen with Joe, but it can distract careers if you're getting walloped every week on a Thursday, which has happened to some really good players in the past. It just can tilt you a little bit. But no, I've seen enough of Joe in the past half a year, just to know that he's earned his spot there and he deserves to be there. So yeah, hope he does all right.
Danny is going to Brighton tomorrow. He can't wait to get down there. Danny at Talking Darts. Follow us. Get some photos. Send them across to us. We'd love to see your photos of the Premier League night number 5 from yourself. Robert Grimsey. Cullen ain't good enough for Premier League. Rob Cross should have got in instead. Mark Wall. The great thing about darts at the moment is any player in the top 10 is capable of beating each other. It's great to watch. So your semi-final number 1, Michael Smith versus Peter Wright. TJ, what would you have of that one?
Yeah, I still think Peter Wright gets it. I just think based on just pure consistency and quality, I think he just does it on that basis. If Smith had maybe got his first major, you could make a case to say he can relax in whatever he does now. As soon as he gets that first one done, he can just chill and relax a bit. But he's built everything up. So yeah, I'm just going to say Wright based on just his quality, the fact he's well number 1, and yeah, simple as.
Okay, not a problem. Right. Then you've got Price Van Gerwen, the other semi-final. Great match. Really great match. Get the beers on for that one because it's going to be a great match.
Again, it's one you'd probably say, be a final of any good tournament, but I'm going to go for Van Gerwen. I think he will come back again and make the final. And yeah, I think what a good semi that could be as well. So I'm hoping it goes all the way, 6-5. But yeah, I think it'll be Van Gerwen who gets there.
I think the winner out of Price Van Gerwen, because we've both got that as the semi-final. I think the winner out of that is us, the darts fans, because that would just be a phenomenal match. Has the chance to be, and you're right. If it was a final of anything, you wouldn't be surprised. It's 2 great players. I've got Peter Wright in the final just because I haven't got a winner from the other quarterfinal, and I can't see Anderson or Smith beating Peter Wright. They of course could, but for me, Peter Wright is one of the greatest at the moment. That said, on the other side of the draw, Price Van Gerwen. I'm going to go Gerwen Price. I don't think he'll have a disappointing night on night 5. Night 4 was disappointing by his standards, having been phenomenal in night 3. So night 5, I can't see him wanting to have a disappointing night again. So for me, Gerwen Van Price. I keep saying it. Gerwen Price takes it. So the final would be Peter Wright versus Van Gerwen, or Peter Wright versus Price. Van Gerwen, Peter Wright. How do you see that one?
First of all, if you're watching along, just pop who you think is going to win in the chat as well. We'd like to see what your thoughts are. But I think Peter Wright wins.
Peter Wright? So you've got Peter Wright winning night 5?
I have, yeah. I think so. What about yourself?
I mean, Peter Wright, Price, again. Gerwen Van Price is a great player. You know when the name just sticks in your head? Just gets in there and then you can't shake it. It's got into my head and I can't shake it. I'm just thinking what a great player that would be. A Price. I think Price takes night 5. I want to say Peter Wright, but I think if it is going to be a Peter Wright Price final, I think the reverse of what we've been talking about in terms of Wright jokingly coming for Price is almost in reverse here. Price is now coming for Wright, and Price is going to be with I don't want night 5 to be poor. I think Price wins night 5 for me. There we go. There we go.
We'll have to wait and see, won't we?
We've gone different players.
What did be Joe Cullen after all this?
You joke, but no one had James Wade on their scorecards for night 3, and he had a great. He didn't win it, but he certainly got further than any of us on here, including the guest, I believe, sort of anticipated he would, but he did. Last week we called who would win it. This week we've gone for different players, so we both can't be right. Let's see where it takes us. But as Tom, the big fish, rightfully said, if you're watching along live, let us know who would win it for you. If you're listening back on our podcast platforms, just write it in the reviews. Obviously, put 5 stars with it, but just write it in the reviews who you think would win. And if you're watching it back on YouTube, I know many of you will be, because obviously the timing isn't the most brilliant. That's my fault on that one. But let us know right now in the comments. And while you're there, leave a like. But we're done for night number 5, Tom. Anything else before we depart? And I'm going to check my lovely barbecue chicken.
You enjoy yourself, mate. No, I think that's about it for this week, isn't it? Just, look forward to tomorrow. And, we'll see what comes of it. And, we'll chat very soon.
Absolutely. And watch out for Gerwin Van Price coming your way pretty soon.